Hello and welcome to Talk Wargaming. I'm here with Ronnie at Mantic HQ, and we're going to be talking about DreadBall, which is we've got DreadBall Season 4,
yep,
and also DreadBall Xtreme coming up. So there's lots to come up. So
lots of exciting.
Yeah, I think we'll probably focus on Season 4 first.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two ways of seeing it. I think the overarch is DreadBall. DreadBall is the sports game in the future, played on hexes between two teams trying to score. What we've then done is we've said there's DreadBall Original, DBO as it's known, DreadBall, which is you have little choice in your team. Each team has a playing style. Each season we bring out 4 new teams, which will play in different ways. They'll have a very different aesthetic, exploring different parts of the universe. And it means that no 2 games are ever the same. Not just because you're not playing the same person, but they've got a different team, they'll play it a different way, plus the randomness of everything going on. Lovely tournament system, it's really clean. There is tons of choice, so you can't min-match your army too much. Yeah. Your team plays it does with strengths and weaknesses. Means occasionally there's sometimes one of the teams is slightly better and others are slightly worse. But if there's any wild excesses, then the rules just usually get tweaked or clarified to nudge them back. What you want is a pack where you've got to play your own way. And so when we did the Kickstarter a year ago, we actually talked about 12 new teams. That was the maximum we intended to go and get done. And as always, the Kickstarter surprises us, and we've got all 12 teams done. So we're putting them out 4 at a time. Season 4 is the first 4 of those teams that are coming out. Yep. Just hitting the retail shelves now. And then later in the year, we'll have Season 5, probably 2016, we'll have Season 6. Mm-hmm. In each book, there's not just the rules for the new team, but there's always some new rules as well.
Yes, this is one to talk about really, because it's like obviously you've got your core game. Yeah, you've got your core game, yeah. Which is like the DreadBall. I think confused me.
DreadBall.
Yeah, it's too many Ds. Yeah. So you've got it's nice to kind of think that I've played core rules, and as well as just getting new teams, you've also got the new rules and things like that. So the game is a game built on over time. It's not just as it is. So.
And wasn't it as it is? It's how it is. How you move, how you shoot, how you aim for goal. That's core. Yeah. We don't mess with the core mechanics. When we come to do second edition at some point, some years down the line, we'll say, right, what core mechanics do we want to tweak? But actually, it's great fun all the time to be involved in where this is adapting and, hey, let's play in the rain. So introduce weather. So last year we did an Azure Forest expansion, which was adding outdoor games. Wind has an effect and rain has an effect. You can use it or not use it. It can change the games. If you're playing the same guy quite often with the same teams, it's nice to have new rules that change the way stuff happens. And in Season 4 it's featuring on kind of some of the roles that sponsors play, coaches and cheerleaders, and some of those things are just getting freshened up and reused in a new way. Quite exciting. Add something to your game.
Which is actually something good. Brings me quite nice to some of the new miniatures which are coming out as well. I mean, we've got I think the fans is one of them.
Fans are definitely
We've also
there.
got the new teams, they look fantastic. I think the Rebels team is probably the one I'm looking at the moment, the best ones. But yeah, I think it's nice to see.
As well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got your Brockers, we'll get you some pickies of those chaps. But what we've done with the teams this time, when we first did DreadBall Original, we had the first 4 teams already kind of off about to go to tooling, so they went into plastic. And then we went through 12 teams, but what we realised is that someone came up with this great idea of prone figures, So then we went back, and actually in each team there was only 3 or so sculpts, so people wanted alternative figures. So we went back and tooled every single one of those teams with a booster pack. Yeah. And that gave you a couple more poses and a prone figure, but actually for the retailers it meant that there were stockings that are 24 lines, 12 lines, 24 lines. And people, if they want to buy a team, they just want to buy a team. Yeah. So what we've done this time is, in actual fact, there's 5 sculpts in each team, 4 doubling up on the main players that you get and the prone figure. Yeah. So that you literally need 1 set, and then you get enough in there to get everything going.
So what have we got the prone players as well? I mean, I think in the initial core set it was a case of you usually put the player on his side, but I think when you've got that kind of players lying down or clutching the stomach and looking injured, it just adds that extra kind of more depth to the game.
And because we're hobbyists, they're not board game figures, these are our miniatures, these are our team, and aesthetically, and particularly the Extreme where there's the scenery on the table as well, you know, for me, just being able to suspend that disbelief while you're playing a board game is almost as important as certainly as important as the kind of gameplay, you know, because you just want to feel like you're there, and you imagine the neodymium ball flying across and someone grabbing it and throwing it in, and so instead of having figures that are clearly on their side and on their base, being able to pop down an injured figure, prone, knocked out, it's great. I like that. So
I think kind of, I mean, you touched on it briefly then, the I suppose what is good about the kind of, probably all of the Mantic kind of games is that they kind of bridge that gap nicely between the board game, but then also the war game, or more serious war games. So I mean, it's kind of like, obviously you've got this, you've got the whole, you get the miniatures, but then you can also paint them up really nicely. I mean, we've done a few tutorials ourselves, so people who maybe are new to that kind of aspect's a good kind of gateway into the more kind of involved war games, things like that. So. And
that's one of the things is that we've got to think about, firstly, what do we do as a business? And we're not a board game company. There's some great companies out there that do board games. Almost they end as we start. You know, as their games max out, they go like, this is our prestige game with minis and everything else. We'll go, right, here's our base game. You know, Dungeon Saga or DreadBall Xtreme. Here's our base game. It's got about 30 figures in it. It's got the basic, it's got the pitch, it's got some scenery. From here you can now collect 12 more teams, you can collect an expansion that will allow you to pick any player from any team and put them together, so there'll be whole loads of working out how you're going to spend your points and everything else, you know, so you can really create my team. And as I was saying, in DreadBall, it's all, you can't min-max your team. In DreadBall Xtreme, get min-maxing. Yeah. It's going to get filthy. But then you will have, right, okay, this is the best team this guy's put together.
So I suppose whilst we're on the topic of DreadBall Xtreme,
okay,
that's coming out.
Yeah, March.
March. Yeah. So I think we'll have an unboxing for that as well, so people can see.
Great,
but,
for sure. I
suppose what the biggest question is, you've got DreadBall original. What's different in DreadBall Xtreme? So
there's two things. As I said, the first thing about DreadBall is your team it plays the way the team plays. It's about you pick your team. And the dwarves are slow, the elves are fast but fragile. We introduce in DreadBall Xtreme the idea of sponsors, and I'll come back to that in a minute. Okay. But you basically start with a sponsor who gets an amount of money and buys a team to go down and play, and they'll gamble and But at the same time, when we first designed the game, we didn't want people who'd never we didn't want you to have to have played 100 games of DreadBall before you play Xtreme. So in the base game, we've got firstly a beautiful rubber mat.
Yeah. And
this introduces what is the main difference at the beginning level, which is instead of playing on exactly hexagonal or kind of long diameter pitch on a hexagonal thing, where the setup is exactly the same every single time, so your team's the same and the setup's the same. With Xtreme, the setup is different. First, it's played in warehouses. It's played in the, hangars of ships or the prisons. Yeah. Exactly. So it isn't a defined, set, structured arena that's got lights and polish and everything else. No, this is more of a kind of Tuesday night, midnight.
Yeah.
Be it Warehouse 73 or Hangar number 82. There's an Xtreme game going on.
So as opposed to kind of the structured league play of DreadBall original, we've got kind of it's more like the underground scene of DreadBall.
It's Fight Club, it's gambling, it's the illegal, it's the illegal side of DreadBall. It's where people go for fun, It's, so I think there's that. First, there's that angle of it, which is the pitch is more random, the presentation is more illicit. To which, when they set the pitch up, not only is it slightly unusual, you've got to think about how you get around there. The groundsman will have set traps.
Which is where the scenery comes into play.
Correct. So now I'm playing on a different random pitch. It says random, it's only semi-random, there's 6 different options, but later on you can just set them up, scatter your stuff and play as you want. But with traps, you're interacting with the scenery. Yeah. But, for a start, the way you play is exactly the same. So if you play DreadBall, you know how to move, you know how to throw, you know how to slam.
So you're not learning a completely different game, it's still DreadBall, but the next level.
Correct. Yeah. So, but if you're new to it, you only have to learn the same you had to learn in the first one, which is how to move, how to share the thingy. And then you just have to remember, if I go next to one of those small things, it's going to explode. That might be really bad or holy really bad. But other than that, I've got to run up here and throw this ball in there. So what it's allowing us to do is it'll still act as a recruiter. It will still get people that have never played DreadBall that are tottering on the edge. Well look, firstly, these are assembled minis, as opposed to DreadBall where you have to assemble them. And the minis are ready for you. There's some set teams in there. With pick this sponsor, he'll pick this team, that's your point spent.
Yep.
So you don't actually need to do the pencil and paper stuff and get playing. So it's for those that have played, it's a different way of playing. It's like Ultimate, it's an expansion on, it's the start of a different way of playing. But while not needing to learn a new set of rules, for beginners, just dive in here. It's a great place, and in it you get the Convict team and the Khaleesi team, both of which are, I think, are in season 5 or 4 and 5. And they're coming out in season 5. They are, yeah. But they are legitimate DreadBall teams.
Yeah.
So you can use these models, download the free rules, or download the RefBot app, check the rules out, and away you go.
And you can use them in your normal DreadBall games.
So if someone's got a DreadBall set, you can buy the DreadBall Xtreme, and you've just bought yourself a DreadBall team, or 2.
I mean, I have to say that I've seen the Convicts and the Khaleesi and the fantastic miniatures. I think it's kind of, like you said, with we also, in addition to those teams, we also have the MVPs as well, which kind of add that extra variety to the game. So where you've got your Convicts, which are all like fairly similar kind of dress and the Khaleesi, but you've got these, there's one of them's like an arachnid with a giant blood stack on its back, and you've got training robots, and there's all this variation of things, and these can be added to the teams. And
free agents, that's where we're introducing that. Right, so there's Blaine and the Prison Warden.
Yeah.
These are the sponsors. So of course the Prison Warden can buy cheapest Convicts. They're your rank and file, and then you'll have guards, runners, you know, your basic troops. Then what are you either strong or weak at? What other people might he be able to get in his prison, or be able to pull from the underbelly of society? Hey, do you want to play a DreadBall game? Here, have some money, come on my side. Blaine has access to the kind of more exotic alien races, and you know, he'll bring them along. So both cases, it's starting to introduce you to the idea of team building.
Yeah.
Thinking about your configurations, and we enjoy that. I enjoy building army lists. You know, you sat there and you think, oh, I've got those units, what can I add to it? Well, I've got this, and so we've put a really nice selection of fantastic looking models, as you said, in the game to allow you, okay, when you get started, just pick this.
Yeah.
But actually, when you play 2 or 3 times, good. This is how we structured that. You've got that much to spend. That's what they cost, that's what these cost, away you go.
So you're not saying, okay, this is, you've got to build your own army, build your own team, you're saying this is what you can use, but then if you want to customise it later on, you can.
And there's more choice in there than you're going to have in your base teams. We've got a few more things in there that allow you to go back. Then if you want to go on, okay, do I have the DreadBall models, or pick up a couple of packs, and you can then really start mending it. Later on, we're going to do something called DreadBall Xtreme Ultimate, or expansion, and this is where we're going to introduce 4 new sponsors, and they're just going to have lists of the points values, and we'll add the points values for Blaine and the Prison Warden to buy from any model in DreadBall. Okay. So in the first DreadBall, we gave a few figures away here, and you go in the crazy bags. Suddenly, I can pick some of this up and add it to my team, and I can really start building my own team, and I'm going to have a fast team, I'm going to have a tough team, I'm going to have the toughest Order, and then one of these, and a Judwan, and I can paint them all up in my own team colours, and suddenly we will also be able to run tournaments where we'll say, you know, Extreme is age random, but bring your own team.
So it's kind of bringing that whole thing, because I mean, it sounds quite appealing to have like a Marauder guard next to some corporation team members, things like that. I think
DreadWarbles strikers, you know, they're the best. Okay, well, you're nameless. Which one of those are you going to take?
Yeah. And
suddenly you're able to pick from the range, whichever models you want to absolutely configure your. And that what's different about that is there can be some debate. Oh, the nameless team's the best, the Judwan team's the best. Oh, the Z's are weak. Is this and the other? I don't know how to play those. Yeah, there is some discussion there, and of course, in each tournament there's still different, but they're all fixed. There's not a lot you can do about it. Well, no, okay, you think the Judwan strike is the best, and you think the Order's the best. Well, there you go. Here's the points. Pick the sponsor. Put your team together, and then you can start min-maxing. So you say, oh, you know, I'm able to pick and play and use the best team.
So probably see some quite interesting configurations coming out.
Hugely interesting, and you know, I'm sure people will find ways of coming out with all manner of filth that when we put the numbers together you can think of. But that's kind of the joy, you know, isn't
Yeah.
it? And then you can throw it out there, and people can really enjoy that thing you do between games. And the next time, you know, you play your mate, you thought, well, actually, my team played really well, but I just didn't have the kind of strikers on the pitch. And those guys are really expensive. They look pretty reasonable. And for those, well, I'll tell you what, I will. And you can change your team between games, and you can start configuring the team so that you can balance out weaknesses. So it brings a bit of that kind of FIFA manager, you know, into it. I want to strengthen my attack. I want to, toughen up my defence. So I think on that level, you're going to have a kind of level of choice and team selection that you never had before. And I think it's really exciting and really good fun, and it could act as a template. And I think maybe season 6, we might drop the kind of those back in as a kind of beta set to say, all right, guys, how about if we give you a few different stats for all the dwarf teams? Do you want to? How much choice do you want? You know, or should we just let you pick stuff back in normal DreadBall and play it back on the pitch for a bit of fun? Because you know the expansion sets and the rules, they're not cool. I just play the tournaments by then. We'll have 24 teams. So it's exciting. I think one of the things we're thinking of doing at Adepticon next year is, because we've got a real period to focus on DreadBall, Season 4 followed by Xtreme, and then later in the year Season 5, and DreadBall has so far been far and away our most successful retail product in terms of reprints, and people have been picking it up. We're going to build its own website, DreadBall.com, and there's going to be a ranking system, and actually that rankings will interact with the playbook. So if you've got the playbook, you can have your team down, and then if he kills someone in a game, tap kills. So as you're playing a league, they can scale up. But also, we're going to have a ranking system that will allow event organisers to run events in their store or at their club night, sign off the results, or a tournament organiser to sign off all the results of the tournament. So over the course of the year, coming year, we're going to get the best players. That really are the best players, they can keep playing, and there's some qualifying criteria, but if you max that qualifying criteria, it'll either be this Adepticon or the next one, but certainly, probably at next year's Adepticon, we will take the best European player and fly them to play the best American player.
So it's basically like a real DreadBall tournament.
Yeah. Ryker Cup, I think we're thinking of calling it, the Europeans versus Americans. What we're suggesting is, because you're going to play the same guy 6 times on a pitch that's the same size and everything else, let's say you play 6 games over 2 days or 5 games, we'll ask you to bring 5 different teams.
Sure, they're just not like a one-trick pony they can play.
And you're just like, okay, who wants to see the nameless versus the nameless played 5 times?
No.
Yeah, or Judgment versus Judgment. So if there is one team that's slightly tougher than the others, or that one's tough, that one's second tough, that one plays really well against, okay, fine. But there isn't one answer. It's how does this player play with 5 different teams? And of course, the first 2 will probably be exactly the same on both teams' rosters. Well, names, same Judgment, okay. But now what? Oh, well, I really like playing with speed, so I'm going to look at one of these teams. Well, I really like playing with the Orcs, the poor ball handling, but I'm just going to crush everything that he's got. So suddenly the team selection will start coming into that. So I think that would then make, let's get on Twitch and watch how these guys play. And then do I play my best team against his worst team? Take a loss, but then try and win the other 4? Or do I try and play one of my second best teams against his best team and win that one or draw that one? So, I think the rankings are going to allow people to really interact with the game. It is a sports game, it's all about stats and rankings and everything else. And then we'll pluck 2 of the best out. Say, right, get 5 teams, or get 6 teams and play.
And this is what's good about DreadBall as a game in general. It's actually, because it's kind of a quick game, it's not hours long, it's not hours to set up. It's ideally suited for kind of as being a spectator sport as well. You can sit and watch someone play. Whilst it's good to play it as yourself, you could quite easily watch someone see tactics and
I think the chance to think is, if we do that, I'd have commentators.
Yeah.
Hey there, Ronnie! Yeah, why would you get someone in there? But the number of DreadBall games that I have seen that have ended like great sports games. Because what will happen is, in the early stages, you're getting up the pitch, you're damaging, but you're knocking them down, and they're coming back on again, and they're there. By the end, because you have a reset up, it's quick, the pitch is spread, you've saved up all your cards, it's turn 8, they go 2 points up, you've got 3 goes to get 3 pointers. So you can't go for, do I go for 1, turn it back over? But you've got your coach cards, you've got your, and you'll play those outrageous plays. But in the early thing is you think, well, I'm not going to throw that ball to him because if he drops it, then, whereas now I've got no choice. I've got 2 turns, I'm going to get this ball, and I've seen games that are, 2-0 to, because they're dynamic, you go back to 0-1, back to 2, back to 1, and they'll change end to end. The ball's going there. There's a guy on the 4-pointer. The defender comes on, takes him out. And usually the little goblin or the one that's done nothing all game is the top-up hero. And it's just really exciting. And I think we need to. Last year we didn't have enough releases for it. Of course, that's what happens when you do these kind of Kickstarter. This time we're spreading out the releases, giving people time to digest them, and we have more ranges, we have more products out there, we have more gamers, so we don't need to kind of get the products out as quickly as we can and get to critical mass. DreadBall has critical mass. New players come into it all the time. We've got a ref bot going live, which just has all the stats for all the teams. It's going to have the free rules in it, so we always give away the free rules to get you started. So you can pick up a team, download the ref bot app to your phone, which you can get from iTunes and Android. You don't need to go and do it sounds Mantic Digital, it's going to be right there. And play. Get out to the club and play. We've got a real period where we can focus on DreadBall as a fantastic game that it is, and just re-excite everybody about it and re-get motivated about it. And with the rankings kicking in, leagues, tournaments, we've got some great prizes for the DreadBall tournaments and everything else. So I'm really looking forward to this year for DreadBall. I think it's going to be very exciting. We've got a couple of new seasons, 8 new teams. Models are assembled, they look better than ever. People don't need to glue them together, they can literally pop them out. If you want to play, spray them, you're up and running. Or similarly, they're beautiful figures, they will take paint. There's a couple of them come in coloured plastic, which just look fantastic. I can't pronounce the name of them, but you're going to see those in Season 5, they look amazing. Like the KR Watchman.
There's plenty to look forward to DreadBall. If you're a fan of DreadBall, it's going to be a good year for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what I'm hoping, and talking to everybody out there, is time to introduce your mates. Download the RefBot app. It's a great game. There's a big community of it. It's going to grow. Please come have a read. Pick a team. 18 quid, 20 euros, 25 bucks or something. You've got a whole team. Get playing.
So I'm sure we'll probably see a lot more DreadBall content coming up soon. We've got some unboxings and tutorials and things like that.
We'll send you away with a copy of Season 4, and you can do what I forgot to do here, which was
get those shown off. So thanks for speaking with me.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll be meeting again.
I'm sure.
Thank you very much.